We start things off at the Bethel Boy Bowl and Sydney Sprint. Maybe it's that down under upside down perspective, but things really turning around for old Mike Austin. You know, I start the weekend, I'm in legal mode because of that Spaghetti Alfredo case, and apparently comedy is illegal. That's going to be one of my things. Parody law, comedy is illegal, and you know they're bringing out the big guns. Apparently he's in a coma now, so I don't know about that. I think I'm gonna have some ways to try and wake him up. I'm gonna try and get them to wheel him in. They're refusing to do so, but it would be nice to look at this, the banana block, but a second red shell, and who is it courtesy of? The devil himself. A third red shell coming, hitting Donald Hogg, and Sexy Bacon flying in. An electric finish that acts as the spark for a battle that will set this league ablaze. Sexy Bacon and Donald Hogg going at it again. But anyway, you know, just to finish that up with that thing, I do have a plan to, you know, wake him up because I think he's just sleeping. Don't think it's a coma. I think he's just laying there with his eyes closed. And when I turn my back, he's probably going to look at the jury and go, you know, or something, like, wink at them or something. Wink at his lawyers at least. But I'm going to wake him up, and then I'm going to present him with a Oscar award for best acting. And I think that's going to get a big laugh from the jury. But look at this, a battle between Donald Hogg and Marky Mark ends with an interesting finish. First place for Donald Hogg, but look at this, the ghosts of player pass, and this is a photo finish that I would love to frame and put on my wall, and maybe I will when I own a house. So anyway, my legal mind is whirling at this point, and I realize, you know what, I've paid, you know, let's get outside of, you know, priority law and all these things that I'm becoming an expert in, but property law, I've paid for my ex-wives' mortgages and things like this. I own at least 10% of their houses, I think. So I think I'm entitled to a room because I own a little piece. It's almost like a share of their house. And I think that this actually makes a lot of sense. So I'm going around. I have about 7 or 8 wives who live in the Tampa area. And look at this. You think that this is Sexy Bacon in 7th or 8th place. But no. He is in first place, and he is lapping everyone. Incredible stuff. And he goes up 1 point on Donald Hogg. He just needs to finish ahead of him in order to win this event. So anyway, you know, I'm going around and I'm meeting these husbands, and they don't like me, you know, and I can tell that these ex-wives of mine, they have a type, and you can call me the prototype. 6'6", jacked, big chest, and Sexy Bacon getting hit with that red shell, losing first place, and ultimately losing the event. But here's some fun footage up until then. Donald Hogg in first place, and just a tough finish. That red shell really decided things for Sexy Bacon. We move on to the Things in a Box Invitational. But anyway, you know, so I'm meeting these guys, as I say, 6'6", burly, definitely hung, and, you know, they're trying to live up to what Mike Austin was to them. I know that these women miss me, but you know, these guys, they're wanting to fight me for coming in there and saying, can I like sleep in your place? I own your house, and telling them that. Look at this. Sexy Special Tay throwing back shells, but he gets a taste of his own medicine here, and he gets absolutely shelled. He's in second place. He has a chance to recover, but that red shell knocks him off, and he goes from second place, falling all the way back into 8th. Really tough stuff. But anyway, you know, and TMZ likes to present it. Mike Austin gets ass kicked by 9 current husbands of ex-wives. No, that did not happen. There were 5 of them, and we're an even match because we're all big burly guys. And we're fighting each other, and we're having a good time. I would say that I won 3 of those, and there was a draw on a couple of them. Anyway, we get to husband 6. He does kick my ass. And look at this. Donald Hogg once again in first place, hit with that red shell, and loses on the final corner. It is tough to beat Donald Hogg in these final events. Marky Mark and Donald Hogg going back and forth, tied at 27 points. Sexy Bacon with another 3rd place finish. But, you know, we get to husband 6. He does kick my ass, but he has the advantage of not having to fight 5 other men that same night. So anyway, that's the video everyone's seeing on TMZ. And moving on from that, I get to husband number 7, and it's interesting. He says, okay, you can sleep on my pool table. And this is the best offer I've ever had. So I'm saying sold. Anyway, look at this Starla with the geometry. How do you get a shell to hit Carly like that? That was an incredibly savvy move. But up front, we see a savvy racer that we love to see, Marky Mark with the boombox, teaching Starla a thing or two about what you do with items. And look at this, Sexy Bacon, Marky Mark, the 3 stars fighting, but Rachel just running away with it, having fun. So anyway, this guy comes out, he's got as I say, he says I can sleep on his pool table. And I noticed that he's wearing a Sexy Bacon t-shirt. And that's when he says, if. And I say, okay. If you get on your hands and knees and you honk like a car. So, of course, I'm on my hands and knees. My ex-wife is begging him to make me stop. I'm going, honk, honk. And he's saying, that's not how a car sounds when you honk. I said, that's not how the cars sound in Cars 4. So that's what I'm basing this off. He goes, that's not how a car sounds. And then I'm going, honk, honk. Yeah, I can't do any other kind of honking. And then he's saying, oh, player just got in and he activated your player alarm. And I go, woo, woo, woo. And, it's just a whole thing. My stepsons are there. Look at this. The first place by Sexy Bacon. And Donald Hogg is struggling, which means there's a chance that Sexy Bacon has pulled off a huge upset. 7th place for Donald Hogg. They tie going into the final event. And boy, oh boy, this is where the chaos happens. A sudden death. Sexy Bacon's second sudden death. And it looks like what you can do, you get back in return. But no, that red shell's not going to be enough for Donald Hogg to pull it off because Starla comes in with the chaos and absolutely takes him out at the last minute. The green shell just coming up short, not perfectly aimed. Sexy Bacon wins that event. They're tied for the weekend once again. So anyway, this guy is getting me to honk like a car and he's getting me to make car alarm sounds. And, long story short, he's a man of his word. I'm sleeping on his pool table. So sleeping with ex-wife number 7. Well, not sleeping with her. He's sleeping with her. But I am in the same house as her. And I know this is a tenuous arrangement, but right now it's working for me. And he does love, he makes me, I pay him in honking and getting on my hands and knees and doing fun things. And, it's... when you don't have money, you do things like that. So anyway, speaking of comebacks, because that was kind of a comeback for me, Rachel narrows it out at that 3rd place in the final event, coming close to Special Tay, and I love to see that. But Carly is turning into a star. And I mean, Special Tay had a tough weekend, but we absolutely love to see Carly coming out. Only 3 points separating them now. And I mean, Special Tay, he's got his contingency of fans. He's got people that love him, but Carly is a fan favorite. I mean, there's probably not a more beloved racer on the track than Carly. So this is really exciting. There's 2 weekends left and you got 3 points between Special Tay and Carly. You got 7 points between Rachel and Special Tay. And Special Tay is just a choke artist. He's the jester of the track. He's the clown prince of racing. And I don't know, it's going to be exciting to see if he can hold on and do it. But that final Champions League spot is going to be up for grabs. Everything else seems kind of locked up at the top unless Sexy Bacon can pull off some absolute magic. But Donald Hogg seems like he's not going to be falling out of that 2 or 3 spot anytime soon in terms of any events coming up. So it would need to be a combination of a big loss from Donald Hogg and some big weekends from Sexy Bacon. But that Champions League spot is getting tight and exciting to watch. But all right, let's move on to the headlines. And we got to start off with that 1v1 loser leave town, but Marky Mark being honored at the White House after a huge victory over King Midas. I know Joe Biden really excited to, Made in America is playing. They've got the big Ford trucks on the lawn. And, it's just a moment where, as president, you get to have a little bit of fun. And I know Marky Mark was, having a good time. Sexy Bacon was tweeting out a lot of antagonistic stuff. Sexy Bacon is really somebody without a political philosophy, but they're a dangerous person. And I think if they were to win a 1v1, security might be saying, let's not invite him to the White House. But that's a story for another day. And moving on to the next headline. Special Tay, he took to Twitter earlier this week to promote Banana Bucks despite the ongoing SEC investigation into his involvement at FTX. He's claiming that they're going to go to, making sure that Dolph is safe and that they're a great investment. And Him and Player have made some good points. I did lose a lot of money in Player Coin. It's inaccessible. But at the same time, this could be, as I say, Player, he's so convincing. He says so many things that I go, okay, I wasn't going to do this before. Everything in my body was telling me not to do this before, but you said that, and I think that I might do that. So, I'm going to look into it. I don't have an investment fund, but, or a money guy to help me with this, but I think, it's a good cause, and he's claiming that apparently something with the banana bucks that they're used to power Starlink satellites. Elon Musk was disputing this claim, but I guess we'll figure it out. So moving on to the next headline, a really exciting one, the Carly Players Tribune. And this is just a fun one. This is nice to see, and it's nice to see the recognition that Carly's getting. Just a few years ago, just an absolute struggle on the track, and the Toads have always been a huge supporter of racing. I think they're the purest example of why we love racing, them smiling on the track. They're in the stands, they're in the pits. It's just their lifeblood. They just love to be a part of it. So for Carly to really put in the work and become a threat on the track, to be challenging for that Champions League spot, that's something that even a few weeks ago, we probably wouldn't have even been, suggesting that she would be. To be fighting for that spot is just really incredible to see, and I'm so excited. Definitely check out this Players Tribune from Carly. Lots of great stuff and lots of great insight into what it means to be a Toad on the track. So exciting to see. And then we move on to another exciting headline. Yoshi Soar named Woman of the Year by MK1 Associated Press. I mean, this used to be Rachel Soar's award to win every year. But look at that. I mean, she's earned it. She's a hell of a racer. And between her and Carly, I mean, these women of racing, they're the ones that have been taking the big jumps. And, Special Tay's been taking a jump too. He's also taking a jump face first into a big slice of banana cream pie. But anyway, it's just one of those things that they're the people who are really, I think, the future of this sport. And the racers who are really going to start challenging that 3 stars. And I mean, Rachel Soar obviously had a difficult year. I wouldn't even call it a difficult year. I'd say an understandable year. New mother, just having, all that distraction and all that different stuff happening off the track, all the stuff that happens to you mentally and physically as a mother. But you begin, when she comes back with those motherly superpowers I talk about, and we do see those every now and then, we're going to start to see some exciting stuff next year between Yoshi Soar, Rachel Soar, and Carly. I think that's a big 3 and maybe the future 3 stars of racing. So that's just my opinion. But I mean, just exciting stuff between the 3 of them. 3 incredible racers. But moving on to our final headline, the commissioner of MK1, he's saying that the 3 stars are a constant fact. And this was in response to a question about the Champions League. And he's basically saying that it's going to be Donald Hogg, it's going to be Sexy Bacon, and it's going to be Marky Mark. None of the MKS racers have what our, MK1 racers have, is basically what he's saying. And I don't agree with this 3 stars prediction. I think there's a lot of suppression in this league to keep this around. I think the whole thing with Midas, I mean, it's not a really sustainable theory, but at the same time, he loves it, and I think he's just obsessed with it. So he's very confident about the 3 stars standing on the top of that podium at the end of Champions League. But those are the headlines, and what an exciting week of racing.